Well, we did it. The last one for this year. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final presentation of 2023 of False Count Anywhere here on Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. Erik Dunn here, not from home in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I'm in a very special location of when I actually began using this place to my advantage. And this is the Middleborough Public Library in Middleborough, Massachusetts. Um, as we have officially wrapped up the first year, well, 6 months, but season 2 will officially begin for next Wednesday, January 3rd in 2024. Hard to believe, folks, that we're about to hit New Year's Day on Monday, which will be the beginning of another year. New Year's Eve is Sunday. Man, there's a lot has changed, man. A lot's going on. I also want to make sure that I let you guys know that this very special presentation of this program is the FCA Awards. What that means is it's basically going to be my version of WWE's Slammy Awards. And what that means is for each month from January to December, I am going to give you guys the best male superstar, female superstar, match, and moment of my eyes for each month. And this is something I've put some work in. This is really my thoughts and my opinions. And if they're not yours, they are to be. No one can. But if they're not, then that's why there's chocolate and vanilla. But that's also why I looked at this from my perspective as a broadcaster and see how I can pull this all together. So, with that being said, I'd like to inform all of you at this time that this final presentation of 2023 for False Count Anywhere is the exclusive property of Rhode Island Broadcasting for the private use of our audience, and any publications, reuses, or redistributions by anybody is not prohibited and is given the express consent to be shared and is greatly appreciated. I also want to express to you guys as well that last week's broadcast hit almost 95 views, and I'm begging to get that 100 mark by myself again, and I'm pushing for it. I'm hoping for it, and you guys being here will make it even better. Just to let you know that this program is live every Wednesday night at 5. We are live on Facebook, X, Twitch, and on YouTube, as well as Amazon, Google, Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, and Podbean podcasts. We are also available through Facebook and Instagram, as I mentioned. Buy me a coffee at RI Broadcasting. We're also available on Kick as well at Rhode Island Broadcasting. So there's plenty of ways for you guys to tune in, help us out, and to help try not just support the show, support me, but help support this company. So the first 6 months will be for the first segment, and then for the second half, it will be the last 6. So here we go. Yeah. Yep, I know. Yeah. Yep. Yawny Man is back again. You know what I mean? That's fine. Maybe I'll make a private moment. Yeah. Maybe I'll actually make a separate list of like private funny moments from this show that I can put on for like next year. Who knows? Anyway. Okay. Let's go with January. So the beginning of the year, in my eyes, saw some pretty unexpected things that happened to kick off 2023 for WWE. But I'll go over a few. Best male superstar for me that month was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Here's why. He came back at number 30 from a torn pec, took 8 months to recover, and won the Royal Rumble against Gunther, who was there for basically almost 70 minutes and broke the Rumble record for the longest cumulative time in the Royal Rumble history. And, Rhodes had a great run in January, and I loved being able to see Cody just get back on top. But The best female one for me was Rhea Ripley, who also won the Royal Rumble match for the women, and she was dominant too. I mean, she really was a yeah, she was a bomb that exploded as far as my eyes. Best match was the men's Royal Rumble to me. There was a lot of stars in that match that I loved watching, especially the fact is that I loved watching the Final Four from the Royal Rumble. So that was awesome. But the moment for me for January was when Sami Zayn took that chair into the back of Roman Reigns and officially left the bloodline. It was phenomenal. The the pop from that crowd, I could not believe how loud that was. That was insane. I was I was watching it from home, literally trying to not scream my head off in like um what's the E word? Damn it, I can't find the E word. Euphoria. There we go. And just excitement. I couldn't even contain it. Like it was hard. And then we go into February, and the best male from that month was definitely Sammy. Because of that momentum, that propelled him to finally getting a one-on-one opportunity to become the undisputed WWE champion. And I'll get to more regarding Sammy in just a second. The best female was the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, because she won in the women's elimination chamber match to become the #1 contender at WrestleMania. So, that was an easy pick for me. I saw a lot of good things out of her, and she really has continued to evolve since she came over. Um, but the best match in my eyes was Roman versus Sammy for the undisputed title in Montreal at Elimination Chamber. That was the main event of that pay-per-view, the premium live event. And the best moment for me was the hometown pop that Sammy got from that Montreal crowd. I think all of Canada, most of the country of the U.S. that were WWE fans were rooting for Sammy to win that match. But I don't know if most of them were, but I know Montreal was. Like, there was a sign I saw that says, if Roman retains, we riot. It was a funny time to watch that. It was just hysterical. It was definitely pretty funny. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a pretty cool thing when you look back on that and you watch the crowd. They were just invested. They were invested in that match. And that to me spoke a lot of volumes on how much Sammy could captivate a crowd and bring them all in. Going over to March, this one to me, I was not surprised that I did this. The best male for the month of March was 100% the one and only Rey Mysterio. He had a tremendous month getting on to the road to WrestleMania. He was phenomenal. The best female was without a doubt the man Becky Lynch. That was obvious. She had Trish Stratus and Lita team up with her at WrestleMania. And, you had a dream team right there. Like, you had a dream team. 2 Hall of Famers next to the man. That's a money drawer. But this was a little bit surprising to me. That, to me, for that month, the best match was actually Cody versus Solo. And honestly, for Cody, because we knew he was going to challenge Reigns in the main event at Mania, I thought it was a pretty good build-up. Him feuding with the Bloodline and keeping all that in. But without a doubt, best moment of March was when Rey Mysterio was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Beyond a shadow of a doubt was when Rey was inducted into the Hall of Fame. That crowd gave him everything. Ray is, in my eyes, a one of a kind guy. Um, Ray to me was always this underdog that everyone looked at and said, I don't, uh, I don't think he's gonna be able to win. I don't think he can do it. No, Rey Mysterio is a superstar of WWE that can prove anybody wrong. He will take on the biggest, the meanest, the baddest, the strongest, the toughest, the meanest guys this business has to offer, and he'll give you a fight. Ray can fight. And now we go into April. And the best male superstar, well, I didn't pick one. I actually picked two because they were a tag team time. I picked Kevin Owens and Sammy. They had a hell of a month of April. I'll explain that in just a second. Best female superstar was Rhea Ripley again because she became the Raw Women's Champion. And she still is right now. So, it was a hell of a match for her to win. You know, she fought long and hard, and she busted her ass to ensure that she would win. And she earned that victory as well. I mean, I think a lot of people were happy, even though Rhea was a heel. I think a lot of people were happy that Rhea finally became champion in on the main roster because it was a long time coming. It definitely was. Um, and then the best match for me was for the undisputed tag team titles, KO and Sammy versus the Bloodline. Best moment for me was when KO and Sammy won in the main event of night one, I believe, of that match. It was like a weight was lifted off the shoulders. Finally, they were champion together. And for me, that was the best moment I saw from night one of WrestleMania because I saw two guys that had went through hell together, basically been best friends their entire lives, but from the creativeness of WWE, separated them, put them back together, separated them, put them back together, then finally joined them together to become champions. And that was the beginning of the crashing and burning of the entire bloodline. That was the beginning of it. Beyond a doubt. And now we go over to May. The best male superstar for me was Seth Rollins. Not even a question, it was Seth Rollins. And then best female superstar was she stepped up during that month of May when it was from a depleted women's locker room because I mean at the time there was a lot of crap going on. There wasn't really like a lot of cohesiveness. Bianca to me is always the EST of that division and of that women's locker room. She can do things not many can ever do in their lives. She's got so much charisma, talent behind her. Yeah, she's not going anywhere. Like she's going to continue to keep climbing. I expect a great 24 out of her, definitely. Um, and then the best match was when KO and Sammy took on Roman and Solo in a Bloodline rematch. Except Jay and Jimmy weren't even in it. It was them that got a rematch. And it was KO and Sammy that beat the crap out of them at the end and got the win. That was a great match for me to watch. It was a phenomenal fight. And it was a thrill. It definitely was. But the best moment for me, it was the final match at Night of Champions. It was Seth Rollins versus the phenomenal AJ Styles for the returning World Heavyweight Championship. Best moment, Seth Rollins became World Heavyweight Champion. And right now, he still is the World Heavyweight Champion. 2024, I think that's going to be pretty interesting for Seth because the problem with Seth is his back. And you guys have heard me talk about this for months now, is that his back is going to give out on him soon, and they've got to figure out what the hell they're going to do with him. He's not going to have that title forever. He's going to lose it, but right now Seth's in the driver's seat, especially with the rivalry that he's going to have with CM Punk coming in January. Who would ever thought that? They'll be talking more about Punk later on. And before we go to the break, for the month of June, best male superstars, it was the Usos, it was Jimmy and Jay. And the best female was Asuka as she continued her reign as undisputed women's champion. Best match was Cody versus Damian Priest, and that was before Money in the Bank in July. Cody was feuding with the Judgment Day, and he was putting on just these eyeballing, like these amazing matches, and Cody is still doing it too. But the best moment was the Uso Bloodline Civil War. And it was both of them doing it because they both left the Bloodline, and it was just phenomenal. It was so good to see that. I don't know why Yoni Man is coming back so much now. But wherever it is, I'm not liking it, you know? Anyway. So with that being said, we need to take our only break here. And when we come back, I'm giving you guys the final 6 months for WWE. And as I look ahead to 2024 for you guys and give you guys my thoughts on that to prepare for the new year. And this will be coming back at you after a word. Okay, I will finish what I was saying. So the last 6 months, I will dive in, and I'll give you an update in my eyes on what I think 24 could look like for WWE, which could literally be one of the best years in the history of the company. And I'll get that all for you when we come back after a word from our Rhode Island broadcasting stations. You're watching Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network, and I will be right back. Welcome back to Falls Count Anywhere. This is the finale for 2023 of WWE for me and for this year in general. So, as we're getting into the second half here. So for the month of July, Money in the Bank. Best male superstar, Jimmy and Jey Uso again. And I'll explain that in just a second. Best female superstar, it was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez as a tag team because they became the undisputed women's tag team champions. So I picked them easily. They were a phenomenal tag team. It was great to see it. The best match was the Bloodline Civil War, and it was one hell of a main event. It was a hell of a main event. But the best moment for me, Jay pinned Roman for the first time in 3.5 years. December 2019 was the last time that Roman was pinned in WWE until his cousin did it himself. You should have heard that crowd go nuts. I mean, that crowd was going bonkers. Not just for Jay, but for how much he put in to win that match. It was just an amazing fight. I mean, Jay was just phenomenal. And believe me when I tell you, I mean, Jay was just a tremendous talent. And he still is a tremendous talent. And it was just a great thing to see from my perspective of seeing him rise up away from the bloodline. Now, moving on to August. This was a little bit of an interesting toss-up for me. Best male superstar for me in August was definitely Seth Rollins, but you know what? I think I might even put LA Knight in there, to be honest with you, because he won the Slim Jim Battle Royal, and that created for him a lot of momentum and a lot of steam in his push. But Seth is just continuing to just defend that World Heavyweight title with so much care, charisma, and respect. The best female superstar was when Io Sky cashed in at SummerSlam, but it pissed me off though because they cashed in on Bianca. Bianca just became the undisputed women's champion, and then Io comes in and just cashes in just like that. It was kind of like two SummerSlams ago when it was 26 seconds she lost to Becky, and it was just like, what the hell was that for? Like, it was stupid. But the best match to me for August was Cody versus Brock Lesnar Part 3. Now, I actually want to explain that for a second. Back in April, Lesnar attacked Cody the night after WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania, there was a main event. It's supposed to be them as a tag team against Roman and Solo. Never even happened. Because Lesnar F5'd Cody and then just beat the living crap out of him. The problem with that is that I actually didn't think that Brock was going to explain that. The biggest thing I saw when it came to Brock was, he started talking after Heyman left him. Or after he left Heyman, to be honest with you. But I kind of looked at that like, okay, well, all right, so let's just see what happens. But then we had part 1, and then we had part 2. And I was like, well, what's part 3 going to be? It will be at SummerSlam. And the best moment for me that month was a shocker, but it really was. Brock did something so unscripted of his character, I could not believe he actually did it. He hugged Cody after Cody beat him at the end of their match at SummerSlam. That stunned everyone. And I mean, it stunned everybody. Like, Brock Lesnar, a hugger, in that moment, hugging Cody in the middle of the ring with the world watching, that wasn't planned. But you know what? I think Brock knew that Cody was going to be the next best thing in WWE. And right now, Cody might end up being that. Who knows? Now we move on to September. Best male superstar for me was Rey Mysterio. Once again. Because Rey won the United States title and continued to defend that at a tremendous pace. The best female superstar for me was Becky Lynch, as she was still having her feud with Trish Stratus, and she was just continuing to rise up and fight back through all the crap that was going on. The best match for me that month was LA Knight versus Miz, and it was just hysterical because here's why. My best moment, John Cena returning for the Flawless Cena, and he hosted Payback, but he was the special guest referee for the Night Miz match. And that was comical because Cena did hold his own against Knight and Miz. And what I mean by that is Cena's not like your average special guest referee that if he takes a bump, he'll fall into space. No, if you touch him and you bump him, he's going to push back. And it was an entertaining 25 minutes. It was funny as hell. And Cena hosting throughout the whole night, too, was just a tremendous attribute to not just the character that Cena is, but the person he is. And and also Payback was a hell of a great show, too. It was a great show, not just with him hosting it, but it was just a great show in general because there was so much quality that I saw from that night. Moving on to October, the best male superstars, it was actually Cody and Jay together. I'll explain that in a second. Best female was Io Sky again because she retained her Undisputed Women's title, so she just kept on defending it and coming out of there. But the best match of October for me was John Cena and LA Knight versus the Bloodline at Survivor Series. That was the best match for me. Seeing Cena and LA team up together, like, you couldn't have thought that would ever happen. And those two were a hell of a great team to be against the Bloodline with. They were just a great battle. Like, it was a great fight for Cena. It was phenomenal, and it was cool to watch that. It 100% was sweet. But the best moment was Cody and Jay winning the Undisputed Tag Team titles from the Judgment Day. That was awesome. And here's also why it was the best moment. Not just because they won it, but if you go back and find the press conference after the premium live event that was in October. Like, it was just hysterical because oh yeah, that's right. In October it was actually Fastlane. Yeah, that's right. So October was Fastlane. Well, yeah. Survivor Series is always in November, you idiots. Survivor Series is always in November. Fastlane was back in October, and like the press conference after was just the funniest crap I ever heard. I don't know if they were drunk or not, but they were just funny as hell guys. It was hysterical. It was comical. It was just, oh my God, was it awesome. It was just freaking funny as hell. It was funny. And then we move on to November. This is where things are going to get interesting. And here's why. It was such a great month for WWE. Here's what happened. The best male superstar for me was the returning Apex Predator, Viper, and Legend Killer Randy Orton. Made his triumphant return to WWE after 18 months recovery time of a double fusion back surgery that almost ended his career because of the bloodline. He came back to team up with his friend and former legacy brethren, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, as well as the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, who he also has quite a bit of history with, going about 8.5 years back. And the best female was actually Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, the Queen, from the Women's War Games match. You know, those two still have great chemistry together. They still have a great bond, and it was a great match to see too. But on top of that, if you go back to listening to them in their press conference after Survivor Series, there's still a lot of love there. And you know what? They had a great rivalry when they were just rivals, but I think like when they're better together, they are. Best match for me was the men's War Games match, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Not just because Randy returned, but it also leads to the best moment. And that was the one and only CM Punk coming back home to WWE after almost a decade away. If you thought Randy's return pop was loud, go back and find Punk's. Listen to that crowd go nuts for Punk. It was insanely loud. It was so loud. Oh my God, man. I actually, I almost couldn't feel my ears at times because I had my earbuds in, but it was so loud. I actually had to take them out. It was just obnoxious how crazy that crowd was. But again, you're in Chicago. Of course that would happen, but like, it was crazy hearing that. Like, it was just funny hearing just how loud that crowd was. It was just a great crowd. And I was so happy seeing Punk come back. It was about time that he came back to WWE. I was so happy to see him back. And his promos, after he came back, really helped fuel that fire for him as well. And then we're on to the final month, and that was for the month of December. Best male superstar was definitely Randy. All the momentum that he has right now was definitely helping fuel that fire for him, wanting revenge on the bloodline. Best female superstar was definitely Bianca. She's still continuing to rise again, and she still has that fire too. The best match was him teaming up with LA Knight against the Bloodline. So you had RKO in LA versus the Bloodline. That was my favorite match this month. It was just a phenomenal fight. And they both worked pretty well together, but LA knows that you can never trust a viper. Just like with Stone Cold Steve Austin, never trust a rattlesnake. Because rattlesnakes and vipers have two things in common. They're both snakes, and they're both venomous, and they're both poisonous, and they hide and wait to strike. They hide. But the best moment for me was CM Punk and Seth Rollins' confrontation. That was my favorite moment this month. When it was Seth and Punk, and believe me, there's a beef between them, and I'm not lying to you. There's a beef between those two in real life as well, and they're gonna push the crap out of that, and they're gonna use it, and I hope they do, because it looks to me like January to begin the road to WrestleMania in Philly could literally be one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, and this could be one of the biggest years of all time. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, WrestleMania 40 is going to be incredible. And we're almost there, folks. We're almost there. And I wanted to take this opportunity as I'm about to hit the 2-minute warning. I want to take this chance to say thank you guys for everything. I made it through 6 months. But next Wednesday on January 3rd, 2024, I officially begin 1 full year of this program. And what I mean by that is I officially am going to begin a full calendar year of doing this program. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked about it. And I can't wait to see you guys in 24. So for next week regarding WWE, all I'm probably going to have for you is simply just the Raw from this coming Monday night, because this Raw on Monday night will be live. And then once I go through pretty much everything I see from Raw, we will also go over the first live SmackDown, New Year's resolution of SmackDown next Friday, the 5th. I'll have all the previews there, and we'll all dive into it together. So, guys, with that being said, on behalf of the man behind the scenes, the creator of RIB, Ron Rigo, this is Erik Dunn saying so long and thank you from the Middleborough Public Library in Middleborough, Massachusetts. This has been the final presentation of 2023 for Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. Guys, I'll see you in 2024. Please have a very safe and a very happy new year. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, as well as for listening, but of course, for New Year's, please remember to drive home safely. I'll see you guys in 2024.